I was on a call with a potential mentoring student just the other week, and they asked me the question of how did I actually get my very first freelance client ever, pretty much. And this first freelance client wasn't actually in the automation space. So I'm going to tell the story a little bit about how I got this first client, and would I essentially do the same approach again? Would I make any changes on it if I had to do it again now, if I had to get my first freelance client? And then also, why did I actually even do this first approach that I took? I actually got my very first freelance client after giving a presentation at a meetup.com event. So if you don't know what meetup.com is, it's essentially a website that if you are interested in a certain hobby or a certain topic, like for example, you can see I've got all these free business mentorship things popping up, salsa classes and various things in the area. If you have an interest or a hobby, you come and create a group and you say, hey, I'm interested in this hobby and I want to organize meetups or events or type of thing. And in my city and in every city that I've seen, because I've been to meetup events in different countries in Asia and all these type of things, there are a lot of tech meetups. So I gave a presentation at a tech meetup, and I also will show you what that presentation was if you're interested. So for example, back in the day, I think I did this. I just came and searched for Python because that was the coding language I knew. And I saw there were various meetup events in the area. And I was like, okay, cool, let me join the community. I went to a few events first, I think, just to get a feel for it. And I said, I want to give a presentation at this talk. And the presentation I gave was called Make It Rain with Web Scraping. You can see that was back in 2018. And I think I was building just a project for a portfolio. I came across an interesting idea and I thought, hey, I'm going to build this little project. And then I was like, well, why don't I just give a presentation about it? I'm sure other people could learn. And I don't know if I read this in a book or someone mentioned it to me or I saw it on a video somewhere, but an idea kind of just popped in my head. And I was like, why don't I just give this presentation at an in-person meetup event? Back then, my thinking was, well, firstly, giving presentations can be quite scary. I wasn't great at public speaking back then. So I was like, okay, not a lot of people are doing these. So it's just good practice for public speaking. And then secondly, I'm pretty sure I was thinking, well, being in front of people and talking about a topic, that builds authority, that shows you're knowledgeable about a topic. People get to know who you are and what you do. And that can only help. I mean, there's no way that couldn't help you potentially if you're trying to find clients or build your name in a certain space. So I was like, okay, let's do this talk. So I went and gave the talk, as you can see, the 24th of February, 2018. And it wasn't a massive community. It wasn't like a massive group. And at the end of the talk, it kind of dissipated quite quickly and nothing really came of it right there in that moment. But about the next day or 2 days later, I got an email from someone saying, hey, I saw your talk at the meetup event about web scraping and I couldn't stay to the end. I had something to do, but I actually wanted to talk to you about this because I have a potential project that might need web scraping. It turned out he didn't need web scraping. He needed more API work, but this became my first freelance client. And I actually worked on and off with his business for quite a long time. So it turned into a lot more projects than just that very first project. And now the question is, would I still do a meetup event, say you're trying to get your very first client? Absolutely. But there's various reasons why I would still do these events potentially. And I might even do them again in the future because I actually quite enjoy them. So one mistake I did with this original talk is that I gave a talk at a technical event. So if I think about who was in the crowd back then, if my goal was to get freelance clients, I should have thought who's actually in this crowd, because in that crowd of a tech meetup, it's like a very specific coding meetup. It's mostly tech people. It's mostly coders. A lot of them are probably employees for businesses. They're most likely not the business owners, and they kind of are just interested in the technical details of things. So I probably got a little bit lucky in that a business owner and entrepreneur came to the event, maybe just to network, find developers, maybe just to see what's out there, and then he reached out to me. But what I would do now is I would go specifically look for meetup groups that have my potential ideal clients. So in my example, I'm interested in small business owners, solo entrepreneurs. So I might go look for small business owners. I'll go find a meetup event for small business owners. And I'd be like, okay, cool, here. Free business mentorship and coaching, Cape Town influencers, business leaders. I would just go find interesting groups, networking games, whatever it is, business networking type of things. And I would think, okay, what topic could I potentially talk about at one of these meetups? If they do presentations, you would need to ask. I would think, okay, what can I talk about that's within my skill set, now obviously automation, that would help these business owners? So I might give a talk about something like, I might come up with a topic like 3 opportunities for small business owners to increase their income, or their revenue, I should say, without working more using automation. So maybe I'll make it that it's a bit long-winded, but that's the idea. It's like I'm making a promise about the benefits they're going to get from listening to this talk, and also I'm relaying it back to what I do. And obviously that talk doesn't have to be crazy long. I think my first one was 10 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that. Again, in this case, I could do 3 opportunities in a business that automation can help. So that could be CRM automation, sales pipeline automation, that type of thing. And think about what I'm doing there. So I'm standing in front of this crowd of people who potentially are my ideal clients. I'm building a ton of trust because they can literally see me. I'm just not like a random stranger on the internet messaging them. I can video that. That's going to be great social proof to put on YouTube, put on your website. You can also say, being a presenter at X conferences or X meetups type of thing. Those small things all build up. They build social proof, they build trust. And obviously at the end of the event, if people like what you spoke about, they come talk to you like, hey, that was interesting. I do this, maybe this could potentially help. Also, you can start speaking with them afterwards. It's like, oh, thanks for coming to, appreciate you guys coming to the talk. It was really exciting. It was my first one. What do you guys do? That's exactly what I would do these days if I wanted to start again completely. And I might even give some of these talks again in the future, but I'm often traveling a bit too much at the moment. So that was a mistake I made, as I said, when I first did this, in that I was speaking to the wrong group. I kind of lacked out a little bit in that a business owner who needed my help was there. There was still potential that I connected with other technical people who do stuff that I don't do. So maybe in the future they were thinking, oh, I remember that project came up, Gavin might be the perfect person for that. So you do still get that, but what I would do now, as I said, is find a meetup with my ideal audience, and I would come up with a presentation that's going to be beneficial to them, not just like going to pitch at them or sell them, genuinely give a talk that could be helpful to their businesses. And you just message the group owner saying like, hey, I've got this idea, this is what I do. I'd like to give this talk to your community, and they would get this benefit from it. Would you be interested in setting that up? And if you did that at 5, 10 meetups in your area, 100%, never want to say 100%, but I'm 80% certain that you would get a client of some sort from that, or they would know someone who needs your help. And if you keep in touch with these people, one of them would almost certainly become a client at some point doing freelance work. This worked for me. It might work for you. So if you are trying to get your very first freelance client, whether it's in automation like I do or something else, this could be a really great approach to try. Again, it's all about experimentation, trying new things, and just putting yourself out there, to be honest. If you are watching this as a business owner and you want help with your automation, you can obviously shoot me a message and I'd be happy to chat if I might be able to potentially help you. Or if you are someone who wants to get into freelancing, or you're an automation freelancer already and you want to improve your skills and get higher projects, then you can also reach out to me because I might be able to help with that. And obviously don't forget to subscribe.